Hi, welcome back to Keto Over 50. I'm RJ. Today, I am going to attempt to make keto Irish soda bread muffins. Now, I only had Irish soda bread, I think maybe like 25 years ago. Someone tore off a little piece and gave it to me. So I have no recollection of what it's supposed to taste like. But I saw Dave from Cooking with Dave make this. It's very trendy. It has the blended cottage cheese in it. It also has sour cream in it and apple cider vinegar. So I was thinking that's just got to be an incredible texture. So let's get started. First with the with the dry ingredients. I have 2 cups of almond flour here. The recipe will be below in the description, everything exact, and I'll put it up here as we go. But it's 2 teaspoons, so I'm doing it live instead of pre-measured, of baking soda, not baking powder. Oh man, it's soda bread. RJ, I should probably just quit right now, right? Reboot. Okay, so I'm so glad I sprinkled it all over instead of just dumping it. I'll probably dump the ingredients in a pile from now on. Anyway, this is what I skimmed off of the top where I had sprinkled the baking powder, and I replaced it with more almond flour. Hopefully I got that right. I didn't measure it, but I went by eye. Good grief. I'm just putting it right in there. You know, it's soda bread, RJ. You got to be kidding me. Okay. So 2 teaspoons of baking soda. 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. You know, I have to tell you, when I started on keto 3 years ago, I bought a giant thing of coconut flour. I don't know, 3 or 4 pound bag. I still have most of it because the better recipes only call for a very small amount of this. And the ones that I made that called for more of it, they were too dry. It really dries things out. And then I have 2 teaspoons of allulose, which helps it to brown, according to AI, which is what Dave uses to get his recipes. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And I don't often measure salt, really. That's enough. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, they're sitting right here. They want you to put the muffin pan in the oven so that it will get hot before you put the dough in it. You know, I think it's Yorkshire pudding you do that. You heat the oil or butter in the pan and then put the dough in and it bubbles up. So I thought rather than spray this with avocado oil or olive oil, I greased it with butter. So we're going to put this in 375 until everything is ready. Okay, so we've got the dry ingredients. Anything else? Am I forgetting? Some days are more challenging than others, but it's always fun. It's always fun. And I'm really excited about this. And I want to tell you too, a special surprise at the end here that Dave flipped over, which made me want to try it. So I'm going to try that with a few of them at the end. Let's get rid of that with the old baking powder. Okay. And you don't use a mixer for this. In fact, you barely get it all together. So we have the dry ingredients. Oh, did I tell you I started with 2 cups of almond flour? Yes. And I will put everything on the side here. Okay. And now we're going to go for the wet ingredients. They are 2 eggs. Love eggs. And I'm putting in the blended, I think it was a 1/2 cup of the blended cottage cheese. And I don't know about you, but when you get your cottage cheese, just blend the whole container and then it's all ready for all your recipes. And then, what is that? 2/3 cup. Oh, it was a 1/2 cup of cottage cheese, 2/3 cup sour cream. I'll tell you what, I don't think this bread is going to be dry. I think it's going to be wonderful. And can you imagine if you can make it sweet or savory? So I have a trick at the end I'm going to show you. And then this was, I think, 2 tablespoons, we'll see, of unsweetened almond milk. And all I had was my vanilla almond milk. And I didn't want to use my coconut milk because I wasn't sure if that was right. And then 4 ounces of butter. 2 ounces? Hang on. No wonder I was screwed up. It's 4 tablespoons of melted butter, which is 2 ounces. And 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Did I ever tell you when you measure ingredients? Nobody does this anymore, but I learned it back in home ec in school. Never do it over the bowl, because if you overfill your measuring cup, your measuring spoon, you've ruined the whole recipe. Just like I did with the powder, with the dry ingredients. You never want to do that. You want to measure it off to the side. Then you maybe have a mess, right? But you haven't ruined the whole recipe. Now I'm going to mix all this together. Oh God, it took half that powder with it onto the floor. Great. This isn't the first thing I've made today. So if my stove, there, the floor, casualties of creative cooking. Isn't this a different kind of recipe? I mean, sour cream and cottage cheese, sour cream and cottage cheese, apple cider vinegar, almond milk. I guess that's what makes it soda bread. So look how beautiful that is. And we're just going to add that. I want to get the spatula. Good grief. That's not going to stay there. There we go. Edit all that out later. I don't know what it is today, but everything I'm touching, I'm leaving a trail of batter or powder. Okay, I had to put everything where it belongs. So you don't use a mixer on this, just a whisk or a fork, whatever you have handy to mix the wedding. You know, I love a recipe that's everything in one bowl, and this is pretty close to that. I just had the dry ingredients measured out, and it just makes it so easy. Look at this. How wonderful. Super easy, and you do it just till it's moist. You know, that reminds me of like making cornbread. Cornbread, when you add the wet ingredients and the egg to the dry ingredients, you just mix it till it's about like this. Okay, I have a little brown butter in there, so it seems. And this is a really different dough. So I'm going to, what do I need? A knife. Knife, here we go. And I'm going to put some in all of them, and then I'll make sure they're all full and ready to go. You know, if you ever watch Cooking with Dave, he's a hoot. And he's making all his recipes from artificial intelligence. He asked ChatGPT, can you make this for me? And he said he's running about 50%, that 50% of what he makes is really good. And the other 50%, I don't know, must be pretty bad. But anyway, what made me want to try this was when he was done and he took his taste, he rolled his eyes in the back of his head. And you can't fake that. I sometimes, when something is really good, I kind of have to dance. I do my little happy dance because something is just so delicious. It's 110 degrees outside here in Las Vegas today. And I have my AC set for like 70, but it doesn't go along with that. It's still like 78 in here. And I thought, well, what else could I do? I could turn my oven on. That would be helpful. Let me bake something. I have my slow cooker going over here, which does not heat up the room. Now I'm just going to use a spoon to top these off and fill up the ones that didn't get quite as much as their brother or sister next to them. If you do this is why I didn't use my silicone mold, because I wanted it to get hot before I put the dough in. Now, apparently, true Irish soda bread has an X across the top. And because this is made with almond flour, it won't X. So Dave suggested if you want to do this, halfway through, you could pull it out and the dough would be such that you could exit. You can put an X on it, okay? But what he did, he wanted to make it a little fancier, and he tried, some had bacon and cheddar in them, which is very tempting. The others had chocolate chips in them. So I thought, wouldn't that be great? I don't eat breakfast, but after 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it would be like a sweet roll for breakfast. I thought that would be exciting. So I'm going to do that with a few of these. Going to stick some of them, push them down in there. And imagine if you get this and you just heat them up in the morning and cut them in half and toast them under the broiler. Oh, God, that would be so good. And to just have that little bit of sweetness from a sugar-free, of course, Lily's chocolate chip or any kind of sugar-free chip that you like cooking with. And thank God for keto that we can have indulgences like ice cream and pancakes, some of what we like. Okay, that's enough of that. 4-state cheddar, which is one of my favorites. Now I need to learn to not put the cheddar on top of the chocolate chips, right? That wouldn't be very good. Okay, let me see if I can break up some bacon. I think a few pieces, a few little bites. Give it a little something, something. You're going to bite into this and go, that is yummy. I think the cheddar would be really nice on the top. I used to love those rolls at the restaurants where they had a little bit of melted cheese on top and they were a real nice dough. For pre-shredded cheddar, it's not bad. This one from Sargento, it only has 1 carb, and that's in a 1/4 cup. So I'm not using anywhere near that. How beautiful, right? Isn't that just wonderful? Okay, the pan has cooled down. So I'm going to put this in the oven, 375 for 18 to 20 minutes. And we're going to keep an eye on it. Hopefully the chocolate won't burn, but I'm very excited because this is so good. I'll be able to have one day without having to make them. Not that that was hard. It was super easy. It's the moment of truth. I think I should start with a plain one. This is my butter knife. I've shown it before. It says no such thing as too much butter. Makes me laugh every time I see it. Okay, so I'm going to loosen it. Oh, it came right out. Look at that. It's just the most perfect brown. Geez, what if we've discovered a new bread? Thank you, Dave. Bread looks like a real muffin, doesn't it? I want to make sure you can see that. Wow. I'm going to take just a little bite because I want to taste the other ones too. I have some hard butter and I have some soft butter here. I'm going to go for the hard cold butter. It's the kind of girl I am. If you've had soda bread, comment down below. It seems to me to be just a little bit dry, but not too dry to never make this again. I mean, it just needs more butter, right? Okay, here's the one. It's dense. It's really a thick, I think that's what it's supposed to be. And it has a very mild flavor. So this is one that we have with bacon and cheddar on it. I got a lot of bacon, a lot of butter on that one. I don't know about you, but do you eat a lot of egg cups with bacon and chives and things? This would be so much better than one of those because it's more like bread, right? And I would even put an egg on top of it, a fried egg. I really like it with the bacon and the cheese. Much better than the plain, that added flavor. Because it's just okay, but that's what bread is. You put mayonnaise on it or mustard or sandwich meat. I am going to make some little sandwiches out of this. And now the one that really made Dave roll his eyes was the chocolate chip Irish soda bread muffins. Wow. And you notice I didn't even need to put butter on that. You really don't need it on any of them, but they do cry for flavor, kind of like how, not that I ever really ate tofu, but how tofu will take on whatever flavor you're putting on it. So if you like really spicy, you could put some red chili pepper flakes in butter or some kind of spread. I think peanut butter would be good on these with some sugar-free jam, like my lemon marmalade that I make. These are a keeper. They're really good. Good job, Dave. Good job, ChatGPT, right? And I'm a big fan of texture, and that crust around the top, around the edges, gives it a little chewiness. You could make these into pizza bites, adding pepperoni and cheddar, and like I said, chives and an egg. You could just do anything. You could make them sweet or savory. You know what would be really good? Cinnamon. And just put a little cinnamon swirl in there with some cinnamon and butter. Oh, I'm enjoying this. So I'll put the recipe down below in the description. It was super easy to make. They're really good. I think they call for something. They need a little flavor shot, sweet or savory. And like I said, even a fried egg on top of this, or cut it in half this way and grill it or broil it. And you would have a nice dense piece of toast that would really hold up to anything you want to do to it. But I was getting, with the bacon and cheese, sausage, Italian sausage, some chives, anything else, Tabasco, whatever you like to put on your eggs or in your food. This is fantastic. I really like the chocolate chip ones too. These are super easy to make. You can customize them any way you want. I absolutely love it. So big shout out to Cooking with Dave. Thanks for the recipe. Keto Irish soda bread muffins. And I like the idea of making them in muffins, and you can customize them any way you want. So if you try these, please comment down below. Let me know what you put in them and if you just loved it as much as I do. This is really a keeper. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay beautiful. This is RJ for Keto Over 50.